Monkey Man, directed by Dev Patel, stars Dev Patel in the titular role. As a child, his village is destroyed, and now, years later, after enough trailing and a spiritual awakening, he must take revenge on the rich elitists that wronged him. I've been anticipating this movie since its trailer first dropped, as it looked to be something so exciting, and I'm very happy to say, after a ton of misses this year, we finally have a film that's worth something. I'm gonna get this out of the way now. This film isn't inherently original. One may be swayed by the on-surface outlook as this being a John Wick knockoff with an Indian heritage coat of paint, and despite there being a reference to John Wick in this film, it thankfully isn't that at all, and instead opts to be its own thing while having a lot of unique things in it as well. This film reignites the action genre with a great deal of heart. We are shown a very harrowing motive for our main character and completely understand why he sets out on to get revenge on people, and while these scenes aren't dwelled on so much, I think we just get the right amount of time with them to understand what's going on. Naturally, for a film with a plot like this, there's bound to be lots of glorious, mindless violence. You'd be surprised when I tell you, though, in total, there's really only 3 really long action set pieces in this entire movie. In between, we have downtime as we see Kid, Dev Patel's character, go into hiding, having to endure intense training so that he's strong enough to face off against people he's going to be getting revenge on. As these scenes went on, I was certainly conflicted on whether they were dragging or not, and there is admittedly a point where it almost tips into dragging on too much, but in the end these moments feel earned. It makes the inevitability of the violence that much more satisfying once we get to it. And how are these action scenes? I think in terms of this decade so far, I have seen some of the greatest action set pieces ever. The cinematography for these action scenes are shot so incredibly well and are really breathtaking in certain points and show clear inspiration from The Raid, which Dev Patel has gone on record to say it did in fact inspire this movie. There's moments where the brutality is shown up close to the point where it makes you feel like you're right there in the middle of it. There's moments of long shots that really let the impressive choreography breathe for the audience to take it all in. Surprisingly, with this, there's a lot of humor within the action scenes, albeit this is very dark humor, but it works for the tone of this film, and I was lucky enough to be seated with an audience that really appreciated what the film was going for. The cinematography in this movie is amazing, and as I mentioned, all of the action scenes are shot with such intricacy and so much thought was put into it. There's such a vibrant use of color in this film, for the dirty, grimy browns of the poor areas to the colorful neon of all the rich areas. There's just so much care and thought put into this. I really have to commend Dev Patel for not only making something like this, but for the incredible performance he brings to it as well. The guy broke a few bones in his body for the sake of his art, and the fact that it got made in the first place is so cool to see. He does the emotional moments in the film really well too. You really sympathize with his character, and you can tell how charming he carries himself, despite you also knowing he's insanely morally corrupt. But of course, as the movie shows, the villains in this film are much worse people than he is. On the topic of the villains, it's something I'm conflicted on as well. There's a very good showcase of how they're very evil characters, but I feel like the movie only ever gives us a surface level look into them, and this could be due to the film just not having enough time to flesh them out, even more than they could have been, but this is a very, very minor thing. Overall, I had an absolute blast with this film. It's pure art and an absolute breath of fresh air for the action genre, and I know it's something I'm going to remember and rewatch for a long time. I'm giving Monkey Man 5 stars. It's incredibly thrilling with some well done action and enough heart to keep you from feeling like a bad person for enjoying people being slaughtered so much, and it absolutely deserves to be seen in the cinema while it's there.